I'm talking to Ken Neumann, National Director of the United Steelworkers Canada. Last week there was the dramatic rescue of the miners in Chile. Next week is the vote in House of Commons on Bill C-300, the private member's bill on corporate social responsibility for Canadian mining companies. How can you connect some of these dots, Ken, for us? It's great that the miners got rescued, but what does that point? What does this disaster point to? The near disaster point to?
Well, I think first of all, the vote next week in regards to Bill C-300 is very important. It's for that reason that we're up at Parliament Hill, along with some of our social partners, talking to making sure that we have the votes to pass it. This is about accountability. This is about where the government gives taxpayers money to corporations that are going abroad, and they may do it in various forms, and it's about making sure that these corporations are accountable. The steelworkers, as the largest mining union in Canada, a lot of the companies that we deal with are companies that also operate in places such as Chile and Peru. And again, if you look at the incident that happened in Chile last week, and thank the Lord that these 33 miners were rescued after almost being 2 months trapped underground. And again, if you look at the statistics about what's been happening, is that they've had an ineffective health and safety administration. It's, they may have a law, but it's not being enforced. It may be a lot by self-regulation. I think that this is a wake-up call. It's something that we've been talking about in regards to that you need stronger regulations. You don't have deregulation. So I think that this is a world message out there, especially with the rescue. This is going to raise the awareness in regards to having health and safety conditions. And if you look at the statistics, now people are looking back at we're not talking about 50 or 60 people getting killed. We're talking in excess of 1,000 that killed in mining accidents. And again, this is that it's about accountability. The companies that we deal with, take for example Teck. Teck operates one of the largest mines in Chile. We have exchange programs with the Steelworkers Humanity Fund. We work with their unions, and we educate them about what kind of company Teck is in Canada and what their responsibilities are and what our relationship is in regards to collective bargaining. And we try to transfer some of that to them, saying that, look, they should be responsible in Chile the same as we hold them accountable in Canada. And what we find is that the companies really speak out of both sides of the mouth. So when we talk to them about health and safety and living up to standards that they have in Canada, their answer is very quickly to us to saying, we're going to apply the law of the land, which again is, you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to escape what their responsibilities required here in Canada. They're not prepared to take that with them. They're not prepared to take the best practices of what we make sure that there's health and safety and training and transport them off to another country. So that's why Bill C-300 is very important. And we right now have an example, is that this mine is at an altitude of 4,000 meters. And you've got workers that are required to go up there and spend a significant amount of time working. I think it's on a shift rotation. And there's some real health concerns about that. When you're working at that altitude, the dizziness, people passing out, people getting sick. And we've had some medical experts come in and talk about the concern about the health and safety. And yet Teck's answer to us so far has been said that we will apply the law of the land. So I think Bill C-300 goes a long way about making companies be accountable. If they're going to have any access to any source of funding from the Canadian government, which is taxpayers' dollars, is that they are expected to live up to a certain standard. So that's why I think that vote is very crucial in the House next week. The other thing in regards to Chile is that because of the Steelworkers Humanity Fund and because we are the miners' union, we actually sent a couple of people over to Chile during this mine rescue. We sent Andy King, who's our health and safety department head, to take message over on behalf of the steelworkers and to the families. So I think that because of the early situation of now that the successful recovery has taken place and the rescue of these 33 miners, brought them back to their loved ones, we are now having some discussion with the unions in Chile, talking about the next step. even though I think the president of the country, I think that the recovery effort and giving it a top priority, that's all fine and dandy. But the fact is that they have laws, they don't have the ILO standards. There now has to be a plan with other labor affiliates such as the steelworkers and the ICM, the International Chemical Energy Mining. We're going to pursue this, is that make sure that they pass the international labor standards in regards to health and safety. This should never ever be repeated again. These mines should not be allowed to operate, and for that reason I think the connecting of the dots, what we're doing here with Bill C-300, and then also what we're going to do with working with the Chilean unions and assisting them to make sure that the government of Chile lives up to what they've been saying, is that we're going to never make this happen again. And yet we find shortly after this very successful rescue where the Chilean president has announced putting together a commission to do some investigations and review, and yet one thing that's missing from that commission is the workers and its unions. They may have companies and other folks that are on it, but they've excluded the unions. To me, that's not transparent. Who knows better than the workers that work in those facilities each and every single day? And we've had that experience in Canada. I mean, when you look at the West Ray disaster, which we so commonly refer to, which brought us the West Ray Bill, that's what I think it is, that connecting the dots has now taken place. That's been watched throughout the world. About the tragedy and how awful it is, and as this information now comes out of how actually unsafe those mines were, I think the more emphasis is going to be put on is that, look, we just got to correct those wrongs, and we can't allow our companies to go abroad and work and not be socially accountable. I think that's where it's hitting.
The Chilean mine was not Canadian.
The Chilean mine, that mine that had the collapse was not Canadian owned. I think at one time it may have had some Canadian money in it, but no, it was Coldeco, I think. It was maybe state owned. But we do have a lot of investment from Canadian companies in Chile and in Peru.
How big is Canada's footprint in terms of global mining?
Oh, it's huge. It's if you look at in Mexico, and we can talk about you got Gammon Gold, which is involved in a big dispute. You've got a few others. You've got the one where they had the killing of the community leader because there's a dispute with the group in regards to the environmental and the community. That's Canadian. We see more and more of our Canadian mining companies that are going abroad, be it Chile, be it Peru, be it Mexico. So it has a very significant input. I think the statistics just in Mexico is, I think that if I'm not mistaken, in excess of 50% of mining there is some Canadian input at some form or other.
So with that big of a footprint, Bill C-300 actually could have a substantive impact in the world then?
Oh, sure. I think that Bill C-300 really talks about the accountability, is that if they're going to access some funding from Canada, is that they have to have some kind of an accountability. And we have a very strong relationship with the Mexican Miners Union, Los Mineros, as you know, Napoleon Gomez, who's got the big fight with Grupo Mexico, and safety and health. That's what all their disputes are about. And getting to Mexico, if you remember, 4 years ago we had the mine disaster of Pasta de Concha, and that's where Napoleon Gomez, who then president, called it industrial homicide and asked for the resignation of the labor minister. Because what they did there is that the mine explosion, 65 miners were killed, only 2 bodies were recovered, and they sealed the mine in a very short period of time. And the unions, and it wasn't a very deep mine. We're not talking about the half a mile, what they had to drill to get into this particular mine in Chile to pull the bodies, rescue the people. In Chile, it was. In Mexico, sorry, they sealed the mine within 2 weeks and just abandoned the bodies. And the reason they did that, because we were fairly confident, because the union's been complaining about the safety, union's been complaining about no enforcement from the state, and is that they were just trying to cover up any findings of wrongdoing. And now there's been a new call. There's been now a new call since the situation in Chile to reopen that file and now go back in and rescue the body so they can have the proper services, the families can have that proper closure of this very unfortunate tragedy. So I truly think that if you connect those dots, we're going to continue to push with our social partners to make sure that companies, when they're going abroad, that there has to be a safe environment.